Okay, today pretty simple. I wanted to talk about things I stepped off camera. I just have to grab a couple things. Things I have learned in this AR-10 journey. Okay, a couple of the tools that we're going to need. The AR-10 specific URR from Midwest Industries. Now, you could use less expensive ones, but to be honest with you, kind of want to stick to that route because Midwest makes some solid ones. The lower receiver assembled basically just as any other AR-15 lower would, but like a not intelligent individual, I figured if I'm going to have one AR-10, I'm going to build it on an actual Armalite lower. Problem is that Armalite doesn't really work with anything else. It does and it doesn't. And we'll go over that real quick. But effectively, can use a standard SR25 buffer tube. Now, here's a couple of differences. A couple of things that I learned along the way. If you use a standard AR carbine, like a standard AR-15 carbine buffer tube on an AR-10, you need one of these little shorty buffers. If you use an SR25 length buffer tube like this LMT buffer tube here, you use standard AR-15 buffers. And then springs is, that's a whole mismatch, but the easiest way to do it would be a Springco Red 308 kit, I think, if you're going to go with the SR25 length buffer tube. If you're going to go with a carbine, regular AR-15 carbine buffer tube, I would definitely go with something with a lot of extra power. Now, the easiest way to build any AR-308 platform is to kind of unitize on the SR-25 platform. So this is an upper from Centurion Arms. If you'll notice, I'll plot that. None of them ever fit perfect if they're from different manufacturers, I will tell you that. But Centurion Arms does a damn good job. If you push in your front pin, okay, Centurion Arms upper will lock right on an Armalite lower. Now, what that gives you the opportunity to do is use all other standard SR25 components on even an actual Armalite lower. So with the Centurion Arms Mark 11 upper, we're able to go with standard like this LMT dual ejector SR25 bolt carrier group. We're going to go ahead and use the standard matchy Centurion Arms rail, so that way we can use their index pin. Very good system. I definitely recommend the Centurion Arms rails. But when you go with the Mark 11, even then, not everything, okay? We had to make some very slight modifications to this LMT charging handle to get the dog ears to fit in the upper receiver channel. But it's the right length. Everything meets up just fine. So, there will always be some slight modifications on a 308 build. The barrel, standard, once you convert to that Mark 11 upper, even though we're going to be on an Armalite lower, and everybody tells you got to have Armalite barrel extension, you got to have this, you got to have that, yada yada yada. Okay, I don't really care, because converting to the Mark 11 upper or similar uppers, okay, that are SR25 cut, that are essentially what we call slant cuts, but specifically this one is the only one I can guarantee that works, will mate up with the Armalite slant cut, their own Centurion Arms lowers. I think American Defense makes a really good set. Wilson Combat makes a really good receiver set, but it's proprietary. You go with Wilson Combat upper, you go with Wilson Combat lower. That is what it is. The Centurion Arms Mark 11 is, as you can see, a little bit of a thermal fit. So this is going to be a really nice, snug, accurate rifle, especially with that nice chrome-lined 20-inch Criterion. I think we're going to be really happy with this. Now, another thing. If And this is only going to help you if you don't want to stick all Armalite, if you're willing to convert to SR25 pattern. Okay, double check your gas, double check your gas, double check your gas. Criterion runs this as a standard rifle gas. Okay, so you're going to use a standard 750 gas block, standard rifle length gas tube from an AR-15 rifle. Okay. Certain other companies, none of them really come to mind except for Armalite themselves, and I don't remember if the other ones, don't quote me on it, I don't want to put out any names, but there are certain other companies that build gas systems that are slightly off. So if you want to get around a whole bunch of trouble, go with a reputable company that is guaranteeing that their gas system is the correct length, because that's what we have, rifle gas. So standard 5/8 by 24 thread. We're going to use just a regular Surefire muzzle brake on that. But this is the key. This is the key in the entire build right here, because this Centurion Arms upper is going to allow you to go Armalite lower, but DPMS/SR25 components right here, which are the majority of the components. You can still find rails and things for Armalite uppers, but this is just a brief overview of what works. AR-15 triggers work. What we did was we just set it all up and looked through before we had installed the buffer tube and made sure we had a good strong center line in order to strike our firing pin. And the LaRue MBT, we spoke with LaRue. They guarantee that their trigger will work with an AR-10 as long as properly aligned, but they guarantee it has the power to trigger an AR-10. And Armalite, you also want to use their proprietary bolt catch and their proprietary takedown pins magazine release. So if you're going to do an Armalite, okay, get their lower parts kit. You can get those from they're sourced through everygunparts.com now. You can go there and get a complete Armalite lower parts kit. Armalite really doesn't sell stripped lowers anymore. I got really lucky. I'm finding this one about 3-4 years ago, and now I'm just barely getting around to building it. So I hope this is a brief, quick overview, down and dirty, of what works, what doesn't work. This is going to be the key to making this work with all of that. So we are going to go ahead and get this bad boy assembled, and then we will flip the part 2 video here shortly in about 30-45 minutes, because we don't have much left to do. Unfortunately, I forgot to film the assembly of this, but also we use the ADM rear receiver plate, the UIC-10 rear receiver plate, because it's kind of shape match with the Armalite. Just a finicky thing, but we'll see how she comes together, and we will let you know. So stay tuned with us. Like, subscribe, comment. I had a buddy, an Army buddy in my unit this weekend. We were at drill, telling me he tried to pull up my videos, and for some reason it went in some stupid age restriction loop. I had a couple other guys try it. They said the same thing. It appears that trying to keep people away from my videos, which is funny because I'm just little old me, a guy in my garage, right, in my shop. So anyway, I hope some of this helps, because I'd like to see you guys come back and try and figure out everything that we build here. We expect to be combat grade. You'll see a lot of use of cold hammer forged or chrome line barrels. You'll see a lot of use of either hard chrome or standard phosphate chrome line bolts, maybe NP3 on occasion. But you know, even we went with a CTR because it's got a cold hammer forged barrel and it's a straight shooter, you know. So everything we build here, I expect to be able to take it to a gunfight tomorrow and win and survive. So you know, I hope that some of these little things kind of enlighten you guys that, yeah, sometimes, you know, sometimes building a gun that is a no holds barred, my life depends on a gun, is not inexpensive. But we're always going to do our best to save money where we can with something that I would still feel comfortable if I was back in Baghdad, or if I was back in the mountains around Bagram tomorrow. I would be comfortable with taking this gun to war. So let's get this build done. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know how we're doing. what else you'd like to see next. And we're going to go ahead and once we finish the AR-10, we'll go over a quick little overview of some other cool goodies we got coming. Thanks.